What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. I am Sean, Bearded Capolitan.
And I am Jerry Robo Tengu Smith.
And we are here once again to chat it up. So, Jerry, I'm asking you, give me some good conversation.
Oh, man. So I've wanted to kind of take a little bit of a break from Assassin's Creed Valhalla because I didn't want to burn myself out on it.
Right.
So I was like kind of looking at stuff that seemed interesting that I've heard things about, you know. So this game came out, I think it was 2016, 2018? No Man's Sky. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, heard about it. Never have played that one.
Yeah, so whenever it first came out, apparently it was very controversial because, you know, the developers and everything of the game didn't, do everything that they said they were going to do. They didn't fulfill like all of their promises and stuff. And the big thing, I don't know how much you know about the game, but so it's essentially this massive space exploration type thing, right? There's crafting, and you have to worry about like your life support and any kind of like detrimental like, I don't know, heat or cold, stuff like that from whatever planet you're on. So you basically have to survive and build base and work on your ship and all this stuff. And you're like constantly upgrading things and like figuring out how to survive better and stuff like that. And so they, what really got me interested, because it was already interesting when it first came out and I never really got around to it. So it was just kind of like sitting there in the back burner of my mind. Well, they did some updates, a few updates, in fact, over the last couple of years, and apparently they finally delivered on, what they were trying to do. And it's essentially this like wild concept of there being like trillions of like planets that you could go to, right? Like any star that you see in the sky, it has a system that you could go to.
Oh wow.
And it has this whole thing of like more than not, you'll find a system that has not been discovered. So you could literally fly to a system, you could explore every single planet in that system, scan all of the entities and everything that's on it. You can rename the planet, rename the system, and it's like just really amazing. Like literally stayed up all night, 2 nights in a row playing it. Just it was like such a time consume. And then yesterday I finally got Steph to play it, so she hasn't slept yet today. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's basically like anything I've ever wanted in a space exploration game.
Right, and I do remember like the early hype for it, and really it never appealed to me in its type, but there was a lot of anticipation and a lot of disappointment.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they eventually, it kind of makes me think about Fallout 76, I think it is, which has now reportedly gotten better. You know, you get these games with like a ton of hype, and you know, and rightfully so in a lot of cases, but they just don't deliver. Whether it's just you know the scope was too big for them, or whatever reasons are out there beyond my technical knowledge. But yeah, I'm glad you're digging it. Sadly, sleep is so important to me. Games no longer cause that, nor do I have that luxury. But
right,
yeah. I've been all over the new World of Warcraft expansion.
Oh yes,
that I hit max level and doing all the rep grinds and all that goodness for the first character.
So you beat the game?
Yeah, no,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you know how you just you you hit max level and there's nothing to do anymore in any of
Yeah,
these MMOs.
you just see the credits on
Yeah,
World of Warcraft, and it's like, thank you for playing our game, right?
yeah, 100%. As soon as you hit 60, done. You're still getting charged monthly, but you literally can't play it because there's nothing to do according to
You won.
clickbaity fucking YouTube and Twitch streamers who just sorry, my buddy my buddy Jesse, your luxuriously haired replacement at Kapow was joining me in the game, and he said the streamers, because I was telling him like I'm fucking loving this expansion, and he's like, yeah, they said after like there's no they hit 60 now, they don't think there's anything left to do. I said, oh, you mean besides do all the end game content, get all your gear, rep your factions, do all the side quests, all the daily quests, all these other missions, get your gold, get your mount, get your flying, get your skills all up. Yeah, nothing to do, nothing whatsoever.
That's like it, and it's kind of one of those things of like once you hit max level, to me that's a lot of times when the game really starts, because you can start doing some of like the higher level stuff and all the raids and everything.
Yeah.
Like that was my biggest thing when was it DC Universe came out.
Right.
It's like max level I think at the time was like 30 or something like that. So I hit 30 and I was like, oh, now I can do all this stuff and get better gear and then do even more of this stuff. It was pretty badass.
It's called end game content. And
Right.
MMOs, particularly World of Warcraft, has always been strong. I'm sure. I know I never got far enough, but even you said 14 has got amazing end game content.
Oh,
Final Fantasy
yeah,
14.
no, it is. Yeah,
Because,
it is. It is fantastic.
and that's key in an MMO, to keep it coming. Like, like non-MMO games usually have like DLC or like, sorry, I'm going blank on the game you literally were just telling. No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
With the vastness, there is no, like, it sounds to me like that's a game like that doesn't have an ending. Like you literally just keep exploring the universe, which is endless, right?
So yeah, well, so they have a story for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty far through it. I'm not exactly sure how long it goes, and it's honestly pretty interesting because you're discovering like what is reality and like alternate universe type
Oh,
shit. Yeah, it is really wild. I don't want to spoil too much for stuff.
right.
But yeah, it gets pretty wild. But I think that the biggest like thing about the game is like constantly making your base better. You can make teleporters that go to other planets and stuff like that, and make other bases there. It's
Right.
yeah, it's and then like eventually like because you can get these massive freighters that'll do jobs for you and create
Oh,
trade routes in between planets to make money and stuff. I haven't gotten that far to it. I have got one freighter so far, so that's been pretty cool. And it's like awesome because you can summon it, like you just go up into the atmosphere, like or the into space, and like summon it, and you just like see this like bright beam of light, and it just fucking ports right to you. It's just massive thing. So cool.
oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. No, it sounds like unfortunately, sci-fi is not my bag.
Mhm.
Outside of Mass Effect, that was definitely my like probably the biggest sci-fi series that I really delved into. Video
Right.
game wise and whatnot. I'm just not big into it outside of the shooting people in the face in Halo back in the old days. We're talking back
Right.
in the day, Halo 1 and 2 LAN parties, logging over tube TVs into one living room and playing death matches. But no, that sounds very cool though. I'm glad you're digging it. I hope Steph also digs it as she is
Yeah.
diving head first into it. Is there any kind of co-op at all? Any kind of option like
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah. That's the only way I was able to talk her into playing it is
Okay.
because like I mean you could play the whole thing. Well, not entirely without running into other players because they have this thing called the anomaly that's essentially like it looks like the fucking Death Star,
Ooh.
and you can summon that wherever, and there's player characters in there, but you can literally run through like all these galaxies and stuff like that and never run into another player.
Just so you know, if I was to play the game and I see an anomaly pop up, I will have to say every time that's no moon. I mean,
It's perfect.
it's just required at this point.
Right. Yeah. So you can group up with people and have like a party of four. And it was kind of interesting. So I guess if you start by yourself, it puts you in a random system. You're basically just like waking up. You're in danger, so you have to start immediately like finding materials to keep yourself alive. Then you find your ship. You have to fix the ship, and then you trace beacons around until you find a planet that you want to make your base, and then you grow from there.
Right.
Well, since Steph and I were grouped up whenever she started the game, she actually started in my system, and then picked another planet in my system to inhabit. So like we got portals that can go from planet to planet, so we can get different resources from our different planets and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they also have, we haven't gotten to them at all, but on the Anomaly they have special missions that you can go on with groups of people. Right. So at some point we're gonna have to like jump into that and see how it is.
Well, I did have this one game that I did play that had a lot of resource gathering and portals. You see, you had to you could visit each other's resources by flying on Dodo Airlines.
Oh my god!
And bringing fruits and decorative items to other people's islands.
Yeah,
full of sentient animals.
Tell me more about the animals that you can invite onto your island, Sean.
Look, there are many adorable animals that speak in gibberish. I taught most of mine to say kappa, of course. And I have a Godzilla exhibit. I'm talking about Animal Crossing, and I enjoyed it for a while I played it.
we taught ours to say plus ultra.
Yeah. And I am still super jelly of your robot. You got the robot made.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I enjoyed that one too. Again, I don't do a ton of multiplayer, even sadly as big as I am into World of Warcraft, a massively multiplayer online RPG. I play it as solo as possible.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just not a social butterfly when it comes to the games.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially like, are you playing on a PvE server or PvP server?
Oh no, PvE. I mean, I have no interest in getting jumped when I'm just trying to collect 4 wolf pelts for this fucker in the village to give me gold.
For some reason, whenever I tried playing that game, all of my friends were playing on a fucking PvP server. And it's the absolute worst. No. Like, I don't think they have PvP in No Man's Sky, and it would be really stupid because people could just go to your base and blow your shit up, and oh my god, like nobody would want to play this game.
No, I mean that's like I know they have another game that's kind of like it's resource building all that kind of stuff, but it's all in one planet. Ark. I don't know if you ever tried that one out or not, but that's
I never did. But I was interested because it's got like fucking dinosaurs and shit.
Yeah. I mean really cool. That one's more. Although it does have technology eventually. Yeah, it's resource building from a caveman beginnings. Very realistic as far as weather conditions but you tame it. And there are some servers. It's either servers or you can realm invade in a sense if your server's set up for PvP. And My dad and brother played it. My buddy Ed plays it, and they've done the PvP one before. And like my brother was telling me, he lives for PvP. He likes PvP. He just came in one day and found his entire fort burned to the ground.
Oh.
And he had multiple people with him. Someone was supposed to be on guard duty and didn't. And they somehow he found out who invaded their realm, and they just rebuilt all the resources to go invade them back. And if that's your shtick, cool, enjoy it. That's just I would be that guy going, avenge me because I'm not rebuilding this shit. I quit.
Right. Yeah. John was actually telling me about that one for a while because I was kind of looking into it, and I was like, hey, have you heard of this? And he actually told me that, but I didn't know that they had PvE servers on that because he was like, yeah, so whenever you log out, your shit's still there and people could just go and take it. And I'm like, that's uncool.
Yeah, that does not sound like a good time.
Yes, but this does not appeal to me.
Yeah, some people do just with that game. If what we said sounds interesting, but you're not all about that PvP, there are servers that are just full piece. You just build resources. You can have multiple people in there. You work together. It's a lot of fun, but to me, it's like, I mean, the most crafting I want to do is literally putting a pine cone and a stick together, making a shovel in Animal Crossing. I'm not too big into crafting systems.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
although I do, like I said, Warcraft do a little bit, of course. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's also very much connect one piece to this other piece, and you have a gun. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
not overly complicated. That's that's just not my bag.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Like it's definitely not for everybody for sure.
Yeah. But I'm glad you're digging No Man's Sky. I'm glad No Man's Sky has turned itself around. I
Mhm.
hate to see even games I don't care about. I still try to keep up with the news a little bit,
Mhm.
and just these games that just have a lot of build, a lot of potential, and they just don't meet it or don't meet it right away. Like I said again,
Mhm.
that game and Fallout 76. This apparently leaps and bounds better than it was at launch a year or however long ago that was.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, it like I said, fantastic. I really really enjoyed it, and yeah, it just oh man, so much time is being spent into this game right now.
Well, don't really have a like a clever segue, but there was something I did want to bring up. Something I just finished the latest omnibus of the manga Berserk,
Hmm.
and for those who don't know, Berserk is a dark medieval fantasy, not for children's. You know what though? If you're a kid, you want to read it, that's your business. I'm not your parent. But it's a very dark, mature, and about Guts, yeah, who's on a mission, and like I was reading it, and I just got done with the Lost Children arc, if you remember that one. That's the one where the little girl is in an abusive home, and she wants to escape to the fairies and become a fairy to live free.
Hmm.
And and like she thinks she achieved that, but really it was like one of the demons possessed her and turned her into a demon, not a fairy, who just kind of somewhat resembled them. And the whole thing
Hmm.
was, Berserk Guts is killing it kills demons, and even though this one is a little girl who's just obviously confused and betrayed and altered, and then he even finds out like her little fairy companions, which are also like little like insect demons, are kidnapped children, and when he kills them, like they turn back, they're dead, but they turn back, and he doesn't care, or he does care in a sense, but he's having to kill his humanity to achieve this his goal, to get rid of the demons. And like that just
Hmm.
really hit me hard about like because you hear about anti-heroes, like everyone says, oh,
Hmm.
so and so's anti-hero because they're gruff and mean and not friendly, but like to me Guts is a true anti-hero. Like he's not a good person, and he is not trying to convince anyone he is. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's no
Yeah.
hero whatsoever. But although just his mission will coincide with making some people's lives better, he just doesn't give a shit.
Hmm.
And like, I feel like there's very few out there like to that level. Like, they call Wolverine an anti-hero because he
Hmm.
has, killed people in the past. But I
Yeah.
don't think he's that level. Do you? I mean, what do you think is like maybe some
Uh,
examples?
I think at this point he's more of a hero. I as I don't know, overplayed as I think the character is, I
Yeah.
think one of your best like um anti-hero for Marvel would probably be Deadpool, right? Because he's just like that super like chaotic aspect that like doesn't necessarily go towards like herodom. He just kind of
Right.
like is a wild card and does his own thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
yeah.
I mean, I could kind of see that, but like, and granted, I read a few runs of Deadpool,
Hmm.
and granted, he's pretty much out for himself. So I
Hmm.
guess that does kind of fall in line with
Yeah.
that because he's not really like helping anyone for the sake of helping them. It's just because he's insane and happens to help them
Hmm.
at times. Although like I'm like towards the end of the last run I was reading, which before I dropped it, it kind of felt like they were kind of because of popularity they kind you kind of want to drop that that
Hmm.
they're make him a little friendlier, a little more like yeah he wants to do good, and
Hmm.
in a level he does, but like I think like the Punisher is probably a bit closer for Marvel.
Oh, Right.
because
Right.
he's just like, I'm not a good person. Like the movies water him down poorly. I think the Daredevil TV show on Netflix did a better job, and then of course the Punisher series himself, because I felt like out of all the adaptations I wanted to give him, because Punisher Warzone was damn near the perfect Punisher film, but there wasn't any character development, no real look into him, so it's easy to kind of do that. But like compared to like the Thomas Jane one and the Netflix series where they tried to show his history, I think the Netflix one
Mm-hmm.
did better in showing him as kind of just I know I'm a piece of shit, but this is my path.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's guts. Like he wants to get rid of Griffith for what all he has done, and all
Mm-hmm.
the other demons that fucked over the only people he's ever liked in life, and the love of his life, who definitely got fucked over in Casca. But yeah, that's been like I said, just rereading actually, because every time I think I'm past where I stopped reading, I forget how many times I've started and stopped that series. I'm like I finished the Lost Child arc as the one I just brought up. I'm like, finally, I'm on the new stuff. And not that I have minded rereading it, but I'm like, okay, we're getting to the new stories. Then I get to the next one, like, oh no, I did read this one, and it's amazing, and I love it. The conviction arc, if you remember, the one with the torturers, the crusaders.
Oh, that is like one of my favorite arcs.
Oh yeah, I mean they already
Yeah.
got the priest that's like just bashing his head into the fucking floor.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I'm there. That it's in the middle of it where the last volume stopped. Like I kind of like I know it's kind of hard, in like manga especially, when they don't have like necessarily. I can imagine it's hard to like end an omnibus with each arc. You know what I mean? So like, volume six ends like right when we're kind of getting into the nitty gritty of the conviction arc.
Hmm. It's it's kind of interesting
Hmm.
whenever you think about it. So the main character in Jujutsu Kaisen, right?
Hmm.
Um, obviously a good character, a good guy, right?
Yeah.
Um, now, what about his alternate personality? Like,
Oh.
would that put him in the realm of anti-herodom? So yeah, it's Yuji and oh my god, why am I forgetting the fucking name of the entity that's inside of him?
I mean, I literally couldn't tell you right now
Yeah,
either. But yeah,
yeah.
and granted, I'm an episode or two behind, so I don't know if there's been any major changes.
It was Sukuna.
Sukuna.
Yeah.
Uh, from what I last saw, like when he lets him take over because he was fighting that really tough demon,
Hmm.
like he wasn't, he didn't kill that other demon for any other purpose other than he wants to be the strongest demon.
Right.
So I don't know if he's hit that hero yet. You know what I mean? Like he's just a bad guy that is having fun killing everything.
Hmm.
Like he totally would have killed. Again, as much as I'm loving the show, I can't remember any of their names. His
Fushiguro.
yeah, like he would have killed him if he could.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
that's just pure, I guess, neutral evil.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
yeah, but
Just malice.
right, like you're not rooting for for him, but you're rooting
Yeah.
for the main guy. I was trying
Yeah.
to think of some other like people will say anti-heroes like Vegeta, and like
Hmm.
maybe during Frieza when he was battling the common enemy for his own good.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing when it comes to it's I guess in thinking about it, it's kind of another difference between anime and comics is like a lot of times in comics antiheroes stay antiheroes, right? But
Right.
in anime manga, you're what is considered an antihero later on becomes like a hero, right?
Sometimes, and like yeah,
Yeah.
like Vegeta's a good example of that, where
Mhm.
he lost. Like in anime, you beat up your best friends, and then you beat
Mhm.
them up, then you become best friends. Uh, he kind of worked with him during the Freeze arc, and then he stayed good until like he just decided he wanted to be better than Goku and killed a lot of people by turning into Majin Vegeta. By that point, I was already fading out of Dragon Ball Z, so I might be getting some facts wrong. But then he went evil again. Then he's fine. So like, it's close though for sure. Like I'm actually because like you said, anime, you definitely kind of get more into it. And I'm looking at a quick just kind of Google best anti-heroes in anime, and we're seeing Guts number 2, at least second listed. But like Alucard, from a Hellsing.
Yeah.
I mean, if he didn't protect Integra as much, I would say so.
Yeah.
I think he's a dark hero for sure.
Yeah.
They got
I mean, there's so many factions in that series that it's kind of like very skewed on what's good and what's bad.
Right. Light Yagami from Death Note.
Yeah. I was going to mention him.
I said that's a good one. He's definitely an anti-hero until he becomes literally the villain. You know what I mean? Right. And he doesn't come back. So
yeah.
Let's say Lupin the Third. I mean, he's a thief. He's a lovable thief.
Yeah.
He's definitely only out for himself.
The big one that I'm seeing that I think is pretty good is Mugen from Samurai Champloo. Yeah.
Do you think him as an anti?
I mean, whenever the series first started, I mean, if you're going like, you know, against the law but to better themselves, you know, then that would be him. I mean, yes, he's still got like that heart of gold, but he will absolutely fuck anyone and everyone up that like so much as like, I don't know, just insults him.
Yeah, I mean that's true. He definitely because he's definitely aggressive the entire time, and while like didn't go out of his way to necessarily be evil, but then I guess kind of doing what you got to do in a sense can be looked at as like I said, like Guts just being a dark story. Of course, anything he has to do usually ends up killing a lot of fucking people. I'm looking at one and like kind of going with like I don't agree with a lot of these, and you know like although they did mention Mugen, a few other characters I don't really know or care about. Sasuke Uchiha from Naruto, fuck him. But then I hit number 15 and it says the Straw Hat Crew.
Yeah.
And I mean technically
I thought about it. I'm like you're in a world of pirates. It's another one of those things where like the whole rule of like there being law is very skewed, you know, and like what's good and what's bad, because there's good and bad on every side of every conflict. It seems like for One Piece.
No, absolutely. And granted, those making the laws are some of the worst people in the entire world of One Piece. So you can look at it like that, but it's like, you know, Zoro ain't killing people just for the sake of getting to be the strongest person. Luffy will kill you, though, for the meat. I mean, that's...
Right.
Space Dandy. I mean, I don't know.
one of the biggest ones they have on the list, and I'm sure you haven't watched that show, so you probably haven't... you probably just discredited it or whatever, but Lelouch from Code Geass.
Yeah, I never did see that.
Oh man, I held out on it for the longest time just because is it by Clamp?
The art looks very Clamp.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it is, but it looks very Clamp.
I think that's what kept me from watching it for so long. But like legitimately, it's one of the better mech series out there. And like it's just so much intrigue and stuff because it has a very Death Note like vibe with like the main character being like really smart and very tactical, but they're literally against an entire like nation and everything, and he's not afraid to betray his allies to achieve his goals or anybody. Like I mean, he just goes straight to it. Like, you know, he sees people as like being pawns in his game and stuff and using them. And he's the main fucking character.
Right.
So,
man, that's a solid one.
Yeah. Lelouch.
I saw an interesting two pair here. One character you should be very familiar with, but I'm gonna lay a guess to see if you're wrong. If I'm wrong. And you're not going to know who I'm talking about, even though you have a very deep connection with one of them.
Yeah.
Nicholas and Warwick.
Oh, yeah. Man, I was trying to think of the name of that show for the longest time. Yes.
Yes, you cosplayed Nicholas Brown.
Yeah.
These guys are just underground, like mafia world people. Like, yeah, they
Hmm.
were. I think that's a pretty good thing. We did for those who I was implying to, we did gangsta cosplay on our second trip to Acon, where I got
Yeah,
where I got to wear a dreadlock wig, and I loved it.
the dreadlock wig.
Now Revy, I hear a lot about with Black Lagoon. I've never watched that one, but I hear that like she's probably a pretty good one.
Yeah, yeah, I have not either.
Yeah, I watched that one. Okay,
Um,
I thought you may have watched that one.
they actually, I guess, yeah, I would technically call them an anti-hero, maybe. Shar Aznable from Gundam.
Yep.
Uh, he's like it's essentially like the whole reason he becomes enemies with Gundam is because he's going through this guise to be with Xeon, which is like the big like they're supposed to be like the Nazis or whatever, the space Nazis. Um, but he's basically climbing his way through the ranks so he can avenge his family and destroy like the Xeon family. But and then the only reason why he ends up ever fighting the Gundam is because he's keeping up this guise of being in the Xeon military.
Right.
Yeah, so he actually ends up saving a lot of the Federation and the Gundam and stuff in certain times because he sees a part in his plan where he can take out part of the Xeon family.
Right. Okay, so I got one more. Just I'm gonna
Hmm.
throw out not anime actually. We're gonna go back to Western comics.
Okay.
Uh, from a certain point of view, though, he's definitely portrayed as the villain. But this is when we get into almost like the Light Yagami from Death Note thing.
Hmm.
Ozymandias.
Oh, yeah, I could. It's
From a
very
point of
skirting
view,
the line.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like he did good by wiping out million people, but he did
Uh,
stop war, but not racism as we learned in the TV series.
yeah.
But like, yeah, like from a point of view, that's
Yeah.
very anti-hero on a obviously apocalyptic scale.
Yeah.
but like but like that.
I saw Rorschach compared to Antihero.
Uh, you know what? I'm gonna disagree with that. I think he's a
Yeah.
little more Wolverine of like
Okay.
gruff
Yeah,
and
that's true.
gritty, but like as fucked up as he was doing good for the people in his own mind.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, and that's where I'd say like a lot of people I think mix that up. When you, especially and granted, like, when all you're used to say maybe is Western comics and stories, where the outside of like say somebody like Lobo or Punisher, or even like like
Right.
who are just like I'll murder you just because this is what I
Yeah.
do. Your
Yeah.
most of your anti-heroes are just darker good guys. Who
Yeah. What a Mystique.
she's always been villain to me. I know she's had some
Yeah.
starring roles, but she's always I've never seen her outside of being a villain.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that I've read her is like because if there's any time where there's like anti-mutant people,
Right.
she would of course side with like even the X-Men.
True.
Um,
True.
yeah. So I don't know. She's very much out for herself for sure.
Right.
But yeah, I guess she more sides on that whole villain line more than anything.
Yeah.
A live action one that I actually noticed whenever I was doing a little anti-hero search,
Yeah.
and this one's kind of interesting because this is someone who I feel like um, maybe started as a hero, then anti-hero, then villain. Walter White.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because that he definitely falls into the doing bad for his own good. Like,
Mm.
like yeah, so I guess kind of like well, not the scale of Ozymandias, but it's that same
Mhm.
mentality of like I mean, he's selling meth which ruins people's lives, but
Mhm.
he's doing it for his family. So it's like yeah, like does his bad actions justify good? I don't think so. That's why, like like that was kind of the point I think with Breaking Bad.
Well, yeah, and then I mean, like another way to look at it is like he was actually highly against like the really really bad dudes, like
Right,
Tuco,
right,
Crazy Eight, and stuff like that. So like he kind of in a sense was getting rid of them. So the only like I don't know. He was a bad guy. Let's
Right.
just say that. Like he was a really good bad guy. But yeah, I would definitely see him as a because I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
towards
No.
his gains
Yeah,
for
and I,
sure.
I agree with that though. That's in the scheme, like you said, he's getting rid of competitors. He's giving away good product that does ruin lives, but they're not.
Mhm.
You know, he's not dealing the cheap shit that's gonna like melt your face.
That's
So
true.
like, and he doesn't want the money to make himself better. Although he got himself some amenities, but it was always about securing. At least in the beginning, before he beat his cancer. It was about taking care of his family after he's gone.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, that's a very good anti-hero, and I think, and because we can discuss it and look at those layers, this really does show how good of a character Walter White was.
Yeah,
Like Breaking Bad is arguably just one of the best television series ever made, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. It was fantastic, and I don't know if you're up to date in Better Call Saul, but Saul definitely hits that kind of point too of like being conniving and stuff like that, and ending up hurting people and stuff like that.
I got a couple seasons in, but like it's one I really want to go back and watch. Has it ended?
Yeah. No, so we actually, because Steph had never seen Breaking Bad before,
Right.
we went back during quarantine, watched all of that, and then got on Better Call Saul and
Right.
got caught up. I think it's 4 seasons,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's not complete yet. I think they actually just brought in Gus like a season ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then it's kind of cool because you know um, they have that whole facility underneath the laundry
Hmm.
factory or whatever, and it's like showing the construction of that. So a lot of it, I'm sure as far as you saw like they were doing a lot of stuff with Mike as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool because it's not just about Saul. It's also like a lot of backstory with Mike as well and how he got involved in Gus's business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was kind of digging. Like, I wasn't really feeling like it was hitting, and I wasn't trying to compare it to Breaking Bad or anything.
Right.
But like, yeah, outside of just like, oh, I see where this started, I see where that started. It would,
Hmm.
even though, oh, I can't think his name, Saul Goodman. Uh,
Yeah.
that actor is amazing in that role. Like,
I fucking love Bob Odenkirk
Bob
so
Odenkirk,
much.
yes, he is an amazing actor, especially in that role. I've
Yeah.
seen him in a few other little things, but this is a standout. I mean, he obviously stood out enough in Breaking Bad, which had an ensemble amazing cast of characters, to get his own spinoff, and it justifiably so. Like it could have been a cheap cash in, just
Hmm.
take the character and put him in wacky situations. But like they really tied it from what I've seen, at least like the first couple seasons that I watched.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's this one another thing I'm gonna chalk up and say I totally need to watch this as I go back to rewatching some of my favorite YouTube videos while I play World of Warcraft. But it's there, it's there.
Damn it, Sean! Stop with your rewatches of Friends and Scrubs.
No, never Friends. I've not done
Yeah.
Friends. I've done Scrubs, and actually,
Oh man.
I started. You want to talk about great rewatches? What I love rewatching stuff is because when I stumble upon the shows I like that Vanetta hadn't watched,
Yes. Yes.
and sometimes we're just like, usually it's like, well, like, what do you want to watch? I don't know, just whatever. I'm like, nothing on YouTube. All right, all right. Let's see what old show do I like that she may or may not have seen. I'll throw on, and the last gem I threw on that she was absolutely loving, Reno 911.
Oh yeah, she'd never seen Reno 911.
I don't think she's ever, or at least if she hadn't really watched it. Like maybe saw it in
Right,
passing. And she
right.
is just dying on that show. She is laughing so hard. And like, yeah, I think that's an underrated comedy. Personally, I think it gets kind of lost in like when people think about like those funny shows from that early
Yeah,
2000s era.
yeah. Are they're bringing it back, aren't they?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
Apple
yeah.
TV, unfortunately, which I'm not subscribing to another fucking service.
Right. Wait, you don't want Peacock, Sean?
Wait, didn't that was no, it wasn't free. I thought it was
Dude,
free. I did sign up
I
for
have
Peacock.
I have no clue at this point. I think honestly, for like comedy sitcoms and stuff like
Yeah.
that, Steph and I have been going to Hulu.
Oh yeah. That's where we usually
Like
watch our
two
yeah, that stuff.
two of our favorite shows that oh man, I don't think they have seasons coming out right now. But Brooklyn Nine-Nine with
Amazing.
Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's got an amazing cast of characters.
Yeah.
That and What We Do in the Shadows.
I need to start that one. I
Oh,
love the
so
movie.
good.
You watched the
Yeah,
movie, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because I don't know how much of the show you've looked into, but it's not the same group of vampires.
I noticed that the cast was different.
Okay.
I've heard a little bit here and there. I've been trying to avoid it because I really want to watch it. I've heard nothing but good about the show, and I love the movie. And like that's one of those movies I can't give another to watch when I recommend it. I'm just gonna have to throw it on, and then she'll sit down like, "What's this?" The same movie I've been telling you about.
Dude. And Taika Waititi is the he was the writer for the movie.
Yeah.
So he's writing for the show. So they
Okay.
actually at some point tie the show in with the movie.
Nice.
So they've got a really great scene that you just have to see, and
Yeah.
it's with like the Council of Vampires, and that's all
Okay.
I'm gonna say.
I'll have
So
to put it on. It's on Hulu.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Dude, like I said, like we will just go back and put like random episodes of that on.
Right. Yeah.
That and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I'll have to
Just
check it out.
random
I'm
watch.
I'm caught up, I believe, on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is
Yeah,
also an amazing show. I was very late too, but like,
yeah. Oh, I mean, so was I. I don't think we started watching it until like last year.
yeah, I think one of my oh Lord, of course I hate it because it happens all the damn time because I'm terrible with names.
Mhm.
Like one of my favorite characters on there. Uh, Lord, of course I'm gonna forget her name. It's she's Jordan Peele's wife in real life. Uh, Hold on.
Which character is it? Amy Santiago, Detective Rosa Diaz.
She was like the not secretary. Oh, I guess like
Oh,
secretary or
Gina
Gina.
Linetti.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Chelsea Peretti.
I love her so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That show, like, I already loved Craig Robinson, but that show made me love Craig Robinson even fucking
Oh
more.
no.
They also Stephanie's like least favorite actor had a really long stint in that show too, and that was Jason Mantzoukas. He was the Pimento, Adrian Pimento, the really
Oh
crazy guy that
yeah,
was
yeah,
undercover for the longest time. Yeah, she fucking hates that guy because he plays like the same character in every like show that he's in.
right,
Like he's that
right.
like just wild card like crazy guy that just freaks out of nowhere. And like anytime we're watching a show and he pops up and I'm like, yeah, man, favorite. Yeah, Terry Crews is in it.
Oh, who's just amazing.
Yeah, Jolo Truglio, which plays oh my god, what is his character's name? Boyle.
Yeah.
Which is funny because he's been in a lot of stuff. He's one of those faces that you always recognize.
Yeah.
Whenever you see him in things, but you don't really know who he is, and he really kind of shines in the show.
Oh no, yeah, he is absolutely great. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, that's a good one. We just marathon through. But like some of the stuff we rewatched, like Parks and Recreation.
I still haven't really got deep into that show.
Dude, like it's very Office in the beginning,
Hmm.
and then it finds its own legs. It's one like I highly recommend because, like I said, it
Hmm.
starts off like I said, it's kind of samey with The Office. You can feel the whole kind of interviewee, the boss talking to the camera, kind of feel to it, and then like eventually like the characters all start growing, and like you see each of their arcs and stuff, and it's funny as hell, and just I think it's one of the better. So like I personally I love The Office, but actually I rank it above The Office.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've definitely heard that from a lot of people. And like I said, I started it at one point. I don't know if I was having internet connections or if there was some weird shit going on with my Netflix, but I was like, I don't know, it kept messing up when I was trying to watch it, so I just stopped.
Right.
Um, uh, my show that's kind of like that, a sitcom, and it's over now, so you can watch the whole thing. Was Community? Did you ever watch that?
Community is amazing.
Yeah,
Dude,
it
yeah,
took me so
that's
long to get into that too, but man, there's some great like actors and actresses in that.
Oh, absolutely, and just like the sharp writing. I mean, and like whether it's your cup of tea or not, you can see
Mhm.
the beginnings of the I can't think of his name now. The creator of Rick and Morty. You know, he was a writer on that show. Like actually, I think he helped
Dan
co-create.
Harmon.
Yeah, I believe he co-created, if not like a head writer. And you can see
Uh,
just the banter and the wit. You know what I mean? Is
mhm.
there. So like, if Rick and
Yeah,
Morty's your thing, you haven't watched Community, y'all definitely need to check that out. I'll tell you another
yeah.
one that I recommend that like it's an older show. I want to say like late '90s, early 2000s, but I think the humor and it hits dramedy levels better than most sitcoms. Is Scrubs.
Oh, right.
Like that show is fucking amazing, and we rewatched it. Other than it, of course, falls into the long-term sitcom curse of avoid the last season,
Oof, right.
but but it's solid gold throughout 99% of it. Just don't watch the end. Kind of like
Just don't finish the
yeah,
show.
like that '70s show. You know, when you start losing the actors, you know, just go ahead and stop.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, when they have to start recasting people, that's when you know it gets a little funky. Because
Yeah,
they did the same thing with Community, and I'm like, not really digging this character. And it
yeah.
sucks that Donald Glover left, apparently because of Chevy Chase, um,
I don't.
which
Is that why he left, or he just had issues with him?
I think he just had issues with Chevy Chase because apparently Chevy Chase is a racist asshole.
Yeah,
Um,
there's
which
yeah.
I could,
Sorry.
and he's apparently difficult to work with, which is interesting because I think by the end of the show, like Chevy Chase wasn't in it and Donald Glover wasn't in it.
Yeah, yeah. I think they both
Yeah,
kind of like just slowly left out of the show,
yeah,
which is weird. I mean, like you know, obviously, you know, you're not gonna like Don Glover's. Not, you know, he's not like he has a history of like claiming you know any kind of racism thing. As far as I know, that's like the only time he's ever brought up being treated like that. So there's
yeah,
you got to take that with some credence to that. But
yeah, and like just kind of seeing like I don't know things that I've read about Chevy Chase online,
oh
I
yeah,
could absolutely see it.
right. And
Yeah,
I haven't really explored much of the man, so I don't outside of you
hmm,
know the movies I've enjoyed him in. You know that, but
yeah,
that doesn't speak for anything. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because you
yeah,
know you see roles and characters, and we tend to you know we just oh well obviously we loved him in this, so this is what this
hmm,
person must be like in real life. And you
right,
find out
right.
they're just human fucking garbage.
It's really one of those things of the internet, right? Like
Yeah,
the dawn of the internet. Like we're in the golden age where
right.
you find out everything you didn't want to know about some of your favorite famous people, and it's like partially you're like, oh well, I'm glad I know that this person's a complete asshole, but also it kind of like breaks that. It's like pretty much the same thing as like having someone famous and then going and seeing them at a convention and finding out that they're a complete douchebag, you know?
Yeah, I mean the old phrase of "never meet your heroes,"
Right.
which is like you know it's funny. It all depends, and you know, is it better to know or you know, and if it's you know if it's not affecting you directly, like you know like I'll bring up Eric Larson, you know the
Mm-hmm.
creator artist the Western mangaka of Savage Dragon, you know writer artist the entire run Todd McFarlane, you
Right.
know uh.
You always have to bring it
I
up.
got because fuck everyone sucks McFarlane's balls, including himself, because he loves talking about his works himself. Like he's uh. But anyway, that's not what I was getting on to about. But yes, uh, I met him at the very first Comic Con way I ever went to, or went to,
Hmm.
which also was my first table setup where I made my beat art. Met him, super
Yes, and
friendly.
you made that amazing air, like the Savage Dragon
Yeah,
piece, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
the issue one of the main series. Yeah, we did that in beat art and had him sign it. You know, just got to meet him and tell him how big of a fan I've been over the years. And super nice guy, great, friendly. You know, chatted up, insisted on getting a picture with it, you know, and everything. You know, he was like super nice. And so eventually, I remembered like, hey, wait, you know, people exist on Facebook besides my friends,
Hmm.
and so I followed him. He's a bit of a dick
Yeah.
online. Like, I love Eric Larson's art. I get why people
Mm.
aren't a fan of it, you know, and I totally understand that he hasn't grown much past the '90s look, but that's kind of what works,
Right.
and it works for his story. You know, when you're
Mm-hmm.
writing a story like Savage Dragon, which is a very just '80s '90s badass cop story, you know what I mean? You don't have
Hmm.
to have modern look, you know what I mean? It kind of fits. But at that same note, he doesn't need to be going on there and showing artists how to fix their art.
God.
And I'm not talking about he just going on DeviantArt and finding, random Sue and telling her how to fix her run-on lines or anything. This is like,
Mm-hmm.
look at this professionally published panel. They really messed this up here, and I'm going to show them how to fix it. Like, Eric, sit down, sit down.
Yeah.
Like,
Please stop.
I love you, brother, but no, you're not the one to be able to do that to somebody.
Right.
So I had to quit following him.
Yeah.
But that does.
There's
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, just one more thing. Like, it's kind of one of these things of like, you'll have somebody that'll gain fame from whatever thing, and then they'll be like, oh, well, this is the mentality that I need to keep for my entire existence, and this is how it needs to be. And a lot of them won't ever move out of that. And if you want to like take any kind of like person, Frank Miller, like,
Yeah.
that dude's like writing has not changed at all. Like, it's one of those things of like, you need to move out of the '90s, bruh.
Yeah, no, I mean for sure. Now, like especially when you're like, if you're staying in that style, like Eric Larson's never changed Savage Dragon much from the '90s. Now, granted, he does bring up modern topics, in a very blunt way. I'm not gonna say he handles everything smoothly, but like I feel like his heart's in the right place with a lot of it. You know what I mean? But like sometimes he does controversial things, and it's kind of old school mentality of which I can still dig because I love my trashy movies. Like sometimes I just enjoy my blood, guts, tits, and ass. You know what I mean? In a good old '90s style action film, and that's what Savage Dragon delivered. Sometimes a little too much for some people, and I get that. But he don't. But yeah, like you know what? If you're good, I want to kind of like you made me think about something else that I discussed with our buddy Craig. When we're talking about I don't want to give out too many details, but we might have a project in the works between me and
Craig
him.
Project.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that'll be for my channel on Beard and Kappa Productions. But hopefully it's going to come through. I don't want to say anything in case shit happens. It may not happen. But in the subject matter that we're going to be discussing, it does bring up about the whole people aren't who they seem to be. And what I want to ask you, Jerry, is what's your line on like, say, you find out an actor is a human garbage, or maybe just had went through a rough patch, like I say a Mel Gibson, who had that famous meltdown, right? Or like someone like, can you still enjoy Lethal Weapon, knowing him, knowing how he is?
I mean, it's one of those things of like, I will not contribute to something that gives money to stuff like that.
Right.
And it really depends on the level. Cause like, if you find out, like, oh, the person to this thing that I was reading is a fucking pedophile, then drop everything that you're doing with that person. Don't support them in any way, at all. Don't even like, bring them up unless it's to tell people that they're a fucking piece of shit.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, prime example, fucking the writer of Harry Potter, was it J.K. Rowling? Yeah. No, I fucking love the universe of Harry Potter. I will probably never spend another cent on anything Harry Potter because she's a fucking piece of shit that is super transphobic.
Right. So, and I'm 100% with you on this.
Yeah.
But so like, that's kind of like clarification. Do you still feel like, has that knowledge ruined you wanting to go back and say, watch the movies? Or if you ever wanted to read or reread the books?
I mean, honestly,
Without
yes.
paying.
Just knowing that it's like by somebody who had these, because like you can't read something without it having some part of the creator's like mentality in it and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's just kind of like
right.
just move on, find a different book series that has movies that has like a writer that you respect more doing, and support that instead.
For sure. So like, is what I do on my channel is a lot of reviews. And, I do movies that might have an actor, like, say, a Mel Gibson. I'm sure I'm going to cover, actually, for my holiday thing, I'm going to be starting soon. Lethal Weapon will be in there. Now, and I believe it is up to the individual about if you even want to bring it up. but it's like I was looking up The Ninth Gate, a horror movie. Actually a really big fan on that. I didn't like at first, but I grew into it. It's
Yeah, we actually talked about it a couple of episodes, right?
Did we? Oh yeah, probably in our
Yeah,
Halloween special about like
yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's by Roman Polanski, produced by Roman Polanski,
Hmm.
who a lot of people know is not allowed back in America because he
Hmm.
did uh, marry or had a relation with an underage girl
Wow.
and fled the country.
Hmm.
And here's the thing. And again, I'm not here, I have my levels of what I'll tolerate. I will never support, talk about, or buy anything Rurouni Kenshin ever again.
Yeah,
After
yeah.
that creator was found with like 600 videos of junior high age girl porn.
Yikes.
Now, Roman Polanski, who, like, I wasn't alive when, or at least not aware. I don't remember how long ago that was. He's
Hmm.
definitely an older gentleman, who went through a traumatic thing. If you don't know, he was married to Sharon Tate when she was killed by the Manson people.
No.
So, like, he's had trauma, but, like, is that an
Hmm.
excuse? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it all comes down. So, like I said, curious about your feelings on that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And, like, me,
yeah.
it's like, okay, I personally, like, do not approve of pedophilia, of
Right.
an older gentleman taking advantage, older person in general, men or women, it is universal, taking advantage of
Hmm.
somebody younger. But it's like, can I still go back and watch the Ninth Gate? I can. Now,
Hmm.
am I going to tell you, like, honestly, with that one, I would probably warn someone, like, hey, before you go buy it, understand it was produced by this
Right.
person, and that
Right.
somewhat, even if it's only a few dollars, is going into this person's pocket.
Hmm.
But, like, I'm a little bit easy with that. Yeah, okay. Like, am I, like, with Mel Gibson? Would I go to a new Mel Gibson film? Possibly. Like, because, like, yes, he had a horrible, racist thing, and there's no denying that. Oddly, and like, but like that, it doesn't take away from me enjoying his old films. I don't know, like I said, I don't
Hmm.
know if I'd go buy a ticket. I guess it would depend on it. Weirdly enough, and
Yeah.
for those listening who don't know, so I can clarify this next statement. My wife, Vanetta, she is black. And I asked her like her feelings, like I said, well, what about about Mel Gibson and how what he said? She goes, oh, he's just a drunk. So it's like she
God.
she blamed the drink on.
Yeah.
So like and I guess that does go to everyone's got their levels. Like,
Yeah.
but and I don't know if it's because she just loves Mel Gibson or she just like, well, she's a little more forgiven if they're imbibed in the alcohol. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, sorry. Well, what were you?
No, I was just gonna say it's one of those things of like, I'm not gonna step in on someone's conversation if two people are talking about Harry Potter that I'm not even talking with and just be like,
Mhm.
oh, J.K. Rowling's a total turf,
Right.
and all this stuff, and just and like it's another thing of like, no, I'm not gonna research every single actor and director and writer and stuff like that for everything that I check out just to make sure that they're not these things because that's just kind of nuts. But I mean, if it comes out like in the news or something like that, and it's like bona fide like legit like evidence and stuff that
Right.
this
Right.
this happened, yeah, like I will cut ties with that stuff.
No, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
like I've had even granted it's easier when you're not a fan
Mm-hmm.
necessarily of it. Of like, like when Hulk Hogan had a sex tape, which I didn't care about he had a sex tape, wrestlers are
Mm-hmm.
freaks. And it was a like agreed upon. Uh, I know the term cucking gets thrown around in a negative light, but some
Oh
people that's
yeah,
legitimately their thing.
yeah. I
And
mean, if that's your kink,
yeah, and my understanding was he slept with another man's wife while the man knew about it, and that because that's cool to him. What I didn't like was when,
right?
because yes, I'm a deviant, I'm a bad person, and I seen the video
Yeah. Oh well.
where mainly because of what I heard happened
Sean,
afterwards.
Sean, this
Yeah.
is not the Yokai Degenerate podcast, okay, sir?
Look, y'all look into our Patreon for our exclusive content called the Yokai Degenerates. Holy shit, I love that actually. We're gonna have a spin-off where we talk naughty. Uh,
Oh
but but
no.
but that's where it came out. What I was getting to real quick is that's where it came out where he was saying racist shit about black
Mhm.
people and his daughter, And I was like, wow, like I never was the biggest Hulk fan, but now I know he is this complete garbage.
Yeah.
And some people are still okay, and they're not. And I think that's okay to have your own levels. I guess I'm really kind of harping on it because, like I said, I know when you get into reviews and discussions, even us, and granted, no one's. I don't know. I don't think we've touched on any topics that are like could have that level of sensitivity. But we always understand that even if we can appreciate the art, it doesn't mean we're okay with what the person does. I guess you can have that
Right.
balance.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that.
Right. Well, we got a little deep on the end here, uh,
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna bring us back.
yeah,
So we were talking about shows, sitcom stuff that we were watching.
right,
There was something that came out this week. This week for our listener is probably 5 weeks ago,
yeah.
6 weeks ago.
This was quite a
So we can talk about this because it's been that long. And that's the newest episode of Mandalorian. I
bit.
believe it
Oh
was,
yes,
yes, chapter 13, season 2, episode 5. They dropped some bombs on us. And we knew this was coming from the, let's see, what was it, 2 episodes ago?
yeah, yeah,
Episode 3 of season 2.
yeah.
Whenever we ran into Bo-Katan, which fantastic casting with Katie Sackhoff as
Of
Bo-Katan
course.
because she did the voice of
Yeah.
her. Well, we had a name mentioned in that episode,
Oh
and
yes,
it was
we did.
Ahsoka, right?
Ahsoka Tano.
And yes, yes. And if anyone, you know, there's a lot of types of Star Wars fans out there. There's a lot of them that surprisingly are always asking for expanded universe content and being pissed off that the books aren't canon anymore. And then they refuse to watch the cartoons, which is
Right.
some of the best expanded content that I feel like we could even ask for, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and so now the Mandalorian, because isn't Filoni, wasn't he a writer creator
He
for
was.
the
He,
Clone Wars?
he was he was a writer, and like yeah, like he co-created Ahsoka Tano. Like he
Yeah.
was like a head writer. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
he was in there with the other main people in charge of producing the show. Like yeah, Clone
Yes.
Wars and Rebels, I believe too, were his babies. And like
Man, and we finally got Ahsoka this last episode.
not only did we get Ahsoka, we got my future girlfriend, Rosario Dawson. I love this
Yes.
woman and everything she does, even terrible Tarantino films like Death Proof. As Ahsoka Tano, which has actually been a fan casting for a little while.
Hmm.
And like not only did we get her, because I think a lot of us like we had heard rumors. I try to avoid the rumors and the speculation and the casting calls like,
Oh
as
man, it
best
was
I can.
impossible this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but like you couldn't. We'd heard, even if you tried to avoid it, you had heard that Rosario Dawson had just an undisclosed role in the show. We knew about that a little while back, and a lot of speculation went to Ahsoka
Mhm.
because this would be the older Ahsoka, which would be very fitting for Rosario Dawson's current age. And so like we kind of felt like it was coming, like, and we were right. And I know I personally was expecting at least like because I'd heard Filoni was directing this episode, so I'm like, okay, well, they're gonna do the hint drop. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna see
Mhm.
her at the very end in shadow, cloaked
Right. Right.
or something, right? Like we're gonna get a tease, and then we're gonna have to wait another week to get her, an episode. So this one
Yeah.
opened up with and like within a few seconds we see two white lightsabers slice through a motherfucker. And
Yes.
we just get glorious Ahsoka Tano right off the jump.
It was 100% everything you would want in like a live action Ahsoka Tano. Like Rosario Dawson absolutely killed it.
Yes.
Looked exactly like her, and that's
Yes.
something that they've been really like absolutely killing
Yep.
in the series. Is like really nailing like the actors and actresses and everything of like the characters, because holy shit, and like, man, they must have had some insight whenever they cast Bo-Katan.
Right.
They cast Katie Sackhoff as her voice actor and been like, if we ever do a live action, Katie Sackhoff would make a good. So like that is some hella foresight right there,
No,
and
absolutely.
like she looked exactly like her. It was so
No.
perfect,
Oh,
and Rosario Dawson absolutely killed it as Ahsoka.
no, absolutely. She had the more mature Ahsoka's serious tones after what all she had been through from Clone Wars to Rebels when we last saw her. She had those moments of like, look, I'm a motherfucker that's seen some shit. I fought Darth
Mm-hmm.
Vader, motherfucker. You know what I mean? But there was also those moments of like, Ahsoka has always been a little cocky and, a little brash at times. And,
Mm-hmm.
and there was you got hints of that where she had little smirks, a little like it was just very well done. Like
Yeah.
a great thing. Are we gonna go ahead and dive into the whole episode, or can I just
Um,
rant about Ahsoka, my favorite Star Wars character? Because
Well,
I can do both.
so not like specific details. I did want to throw out that there was another actress that was in this that I started seeing a lot of buzz about, and I was kind of curious about it. Diana Lee in Inosanto.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about her?
Is that the what they call her?
She was the magistrate.
The magistrate. I
Yeah,
know she does a lot of stunt work. That's
she's a
about
magistrate. Morgan Elsbeth.
right. I know the actress had done like a lot of like stunt choreography, like little
Uh-huh.
stunt works and stuff. Beyond that,
Yeah.
I don't really know much.
Her father is Bruce Lee.
No shit.
Yep. Yep. Or no, I'm sorry.
No way.
Her
I thought
father was Dan Inosanto, who is a student.
student Bruce Lee. Okay. I'm like,
Yeah,
so
of
wait a
Bruce Lee.
minute.
Yeah, yeah,
Wait a minute.
yeah.
I had to
No,
think.
yeah, I had
I,
that skewed. Yeah, no, her father learned directly from Bruce Lee.
oh,
So
very
she had
cool.
learned Jeet Kune Do
Yeah.
from her father, who learned it from Bruce Lee.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if she learned Jeet Kune Do from her father, which
Yeah.
is great. Uh, I love the fight choreography. I haven't heard anyone complain. Surprisingly, when we're talking about Star Wars, I haven't heard any bitching yet about this episode. Um, but like, I anticipated, and who knows? I'm going to the comic book shop Wednesday. We'll see.
Mhm.
um, like, I loved their fight. It wasn't flashy.
Yeah.
It was slow paced of two masters who know that literally one slip up is going to end their fucking life. And like,
Hmm.
I felt like that was the kind of battles they wanted to get across in Iron Fist
Yes.
in Netflix, where
Yeah.
you have someone who you don't have to be flashy when you're that level. And I think they showed that
Hmm.
with that now without knowing anything about the Magistrate. As far as I know, she was the original character, which I know they kind of mentioned she had history in the Clone Wars with her family getting wiped out. But to my
Hmm.
knowledge, she's never existed before. But for me at least, I could immediately tell. Like, and you weren't really sure up until, but when she took the spear, I'm like, oh shit, no, like she is showing like I could tell like this person is trained and a badass,
Hmm.
and the way Ahsoka didn't just like they didn't have her just rush in, like it was a careful,
Hmm.
almost like
Yeah.
like and calling her the magistrate, which is very very Japanese, you know. Having that like kind of like it had a very samurai showdown kind of feel to it.
Hmm. Yeah, and like the whole episode was like a total love letter to like Sergio
Hmm.
Leone's spaghetti western stuff and Akira Kurosawa's samurai stuff. Like, and it's so crazy, like to have like both of those mixed in. And I
Yeah,
was like,
because I was gonna
just
yeah
yeah,
sorry.
absolutely blown away.
Yeah, because I was gonna mention that the whole time we had, and I love that we cut back and forth from the samurai duel to the spaghetti western
Yeah, yeah,
standoff,
like standoff, right?
which of course in the Sergio Leone movies were remakes for the most part of the
Hmm.
Kurosawa film. So like,
Yeah,
Filoni was just like, I'm taking everything and
yeah,
putting in
yeah.
my
I'm taking
goodness
all of it.
into it, which is why I've been spreading the meme of it's like someone like praising the sun, basically like worshiping God, but it's Filoni's face in the sun. It's praise Dave Filoni and all his good works because it
So
was an
perfect.
amazing episode, and he did like I said, brought in an amazing character that I'll just kind of touch on briefly because I feel like we're gonna do a Star Wars episode eventually with everything going down. I did not like Ahsoka Tano when she debuted in the Clone Wars movie and early into the series. She was the kid sidekick with a weird nickname of Snips, and was just felt like she was just there to be the Robin. This like I'm here to be Anakin's little kitty sidekick, and bring in some lightheartedness to a fucking war story. What I didn't know was this was going to be the greatest character story arc I've ever fucking seen in Star Wars and in a lot of mediums. Ahsoka's story from Padawan to now is currently at Mandalorian. It's just some of the best character development I've seen.
Seriously.
Like she goes from the spunky little smart ass kid into a fucking war torn veteran who had to, spoilers if you haven't watched Rebels, but it's a few years old now too. Had not only like lose her master, who she just knew had died. At that point, she left the Jedi Order and the war, only to rediscover that motherfucker is the worst motherfucker in the entire universe. That moment in Rebels, when they just come close and she just senses it, and it's that pan into her face of shock, sadness, and just disbelief, is still one of the most iconic moments in all of fucking Star Wars to me.
Yeah. So good. Like, and what was it? It was a little bit after that when actually she encountered him.
Yeah.
And like they didn't tell us for the longest time what happened. We didn't see Ahsoka. And we knew that Darth Vader was still out there. So it was like, what happened to Ahsoka? Was she dead? What's going on? Like
Right. Yeah. And that was a big thing. And just that whole meeting when it did show the meeting, he's like, so the Padawan lives.
Yeah.
It was like, because like, again, things I'm gonna put on rewatch and never watch because I watch YouTube too damn much. And I did it recently, but that episode made me want to go back and watch Clone Wars and Rebels all over again.
Oh, for real.
Yeah.
So mentioning Ahsoka, mentioning Bo-Katan, are there any characters that popped up in the animated series that you want to see in the live action series? I've got one, and it's kind of like a minor character that popped up here and there that I would love to see, and I think would work really very interesting with the show. But do you have any off the top of your head?
I have a big one.
Yeah,
and I may be jumping the gun that I'm mad.
I think I know who it is.
That I'm mad because we haven't gotten this character yet.
Yeah,
but considering everything they build it up, we still could, and I don't want to get mad yet. We still got about 4 episodes left.
Yeah.
Sabine.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah, because you're
wielder of the Dark Blade, also searching with Ahsoka for Ezra. But yeah, Sabine. Like I was a little disappointed. Not that I have any complaints about this episode, but I was a little heartbroken we didn't see like a ship picking up Ahsoka and just see a Mandalorian standing in the doorway. Man. Even if that was it. Just a hint of Sabine. I got to get my duo, because Sabine is also an awesome character.
Yeah. Something else. This is coming out so far ahead. I think we're going to be in January when this episode comes out. So I'm going to go ahead and mention this.
Yeah.
The name of the person that she was looking for.
Yes.
At the end was Thrawn.
Admiral Thrawn.
Oh my god, that sent chills down my spine. I was we're gonna get fucking Thrawn.
And like the question now is, because rumors again, and as much as I try to avoid them, you still hear some. It's all speculation, as far as I know. No leaks. Because if someone says I heard a leak, I'm immediately turning you off. Because I want to be surprised, even if it's legit. I don't want to know. I want to hear your fangasm theories. You know what I mean? Where it's just pure, I love this shit. This is what I hope to see.
Yeah.
Is rumor of an Ahsoka spinoff show.
Oh, right.
Which I'll be a little sad, especially how well Rosario Dawson played her. But I'll still take whatever I can get. It's unfortunately rumored to be animated.
Oh, interesting.
Which is cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
But to see Ahsoka, possibly Sabine, possibly Ezra, Thrawn has now been mentioned. Yep. To see them live action would be fucking like I would love that a lot more. But I'll be just as happy with another Rebels level, Clone Wars level animated series.
So here's something interesting I just thought of. If they're gonna do that Ahsoka spin-off show animated, if that's like gonna end up being what it is,
Yeah,
do you think they will get a Mandalorian cameo in it?
possibly.
Yeah,
It
I
depends
can
on.
definitely see it.
Yeah, I would be 100% okay with that. I
Hmm.
guess it would depend on how, like, because again, we're spoilers for the end of Rebels, but you should have already fucking watched it by now. Uh,
Seriously, you guys.
Ezra, the main character, disappeared into the reaches of space with Admiral Thrawn
Hmm.
or Commander Thrawn, whatever it, Supreme Leader Thrawn, whatever it, Thrawn
Yeah, right.
with Thrawn. So her asking where he is, and because
Hmm.
I'm sure she had asked them where Ezra is, they wouldn't know who the fuck that was. She's
Yeah.
still searching for Ezra. I
Hmm.
think more so than trying to find Thrawn, she wants to find Ezra, which is that's what her
Hmm.
and Sabine were doing when they left the Rebels, the
Mm.
group in Rebels. So like the spinoff could be the search for Ezra,
Yeah.
which
Oh man.
I'm all about because he's
Yep.
another great character from a great series.
So the fun, interesting character that like I feel like I don't know. I think would be pretty great if we actually got him, and that's Hondo Onaka. Do you remember this character?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the pirate, the
The
weak haired
pirate. Yeah, I
pirate.
remember exactly what he was. But yeah, the lovable scum. Hondo
Yes.
was great. Yeah,
Oh man, I would love to see them like bring him into the Mandalorian.
right.
Like that character was so intriguing. Like he was really annoying when he first popped up,
Yeah,
but he was
yeah.
like one of those characters that really grew on you.
Oh, absolutely.
Anti-hero? Is he an anti-hero?
Yeah, you could go that route because much as he helped, he also benefited himself.
Yeah,
He wasn't
yeah,
like murdering people willingly, other
right.
than like to get to his goal, but not like like not guts level. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he would absolutely be a great cameo. Um,
yeah.
I was gonna say they also like I said, if y'all are watching or listening to us now and love the Mandalorian but haven't watched Rebels, especially Rebels and Clone Wars, you are
Hmm.
missing out on these little things that they have dropped. This episode alone, but like the, those are canon to this lore,
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
and you are truly missing out. I mean, like we know,
Yeah.
was it Spectre One, their ship in Rebels, was in Rogue One,
Hmm.
and that was confirmed because
Or,
they even called it
or was it
or they called it Spectre One as like the ghost or
was it the
whatever.
ghost?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like
the
Hera's
ghost.
her call sign was Spectre
Hmm.
One,
Yeah,
and like they
yeah.
call and you heard that call sign, so it's like
Hmm.
these are canon, and it's so good, you
I'm
know.
ready. I'm ready to see some clones too, man.
Oh, yeah, like that's
Yeah.
well, we got the first episode, we got what we're assuming to be Boba Fett.
Hmm.
But like I've also said, I wonder if it's possible swerve it could, since they're all based on Django, if it could be
Yeah.
a clone trooper.
Right.
But
Yeah. And I was actually asking Steph because I honestly forgot at the end of the I think it was first episode. Yeah. Um, he does have the Boba Fett armor on him, right?
no,
Like in his ship.
yeah,
He
yeah,
took it.
Mando has it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so.
And that's why we assume that he
Yeah.
has Scar. The guy has scars. He's played by the guy who was Django Fett slash all the clones.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
he has scars, and he's watching him go away with the armor blatantly in view. So like, it's pretty safe bet as Boba. But like,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be kind of a neat swerve if it was a clone trooper.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
there's so many possibilities with such a rich now, and like them, like how you mentioned earlier, people are complaining because they decanonize a lot of the books, but they're pulling from them into their new
Hmm.
canon, which is making it a bit more. You ain't gotta read a billion old novels to understand things anymore, which I'm okay with on some extent, as long as it's still kind of
Hmm.
being used and still keeping the themes.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
my wife's
That-
about to come home and be very noisy with the dog.
Okay.
And but we've had a nice long episode. I'm okay with that. 'Cause
Oh
we
yeah.
had some great topics. We went very serious, very silly, and had a lot of good talks, sir. I appreciate it
Yeah,
as always, and I appreciate
it
you
is always a
listeners
pleasure.
as
Yeah.
always, for tuning in. If you liked what you heard, like, comment, subscribe, and please share the videos around. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, give it to them as a holiday present. It's the cheapest gift you can give this Christmas season, of telling them to subscribe to our channel. But yeah,
It's truly the gift that keeps on giving.
until we quit. But yeah, let us know what y'all thought about this episode of The Mandalorian that was aired 6 weeks ago when we recorded this. I
Right.
don't know. Tell us what you thought about the season, because it should probably be over by the time this goes live. Tell us.
Yeah, and then probably 6 more weeks after this episode releases, we'll probably have a wrap up of of the Mandalorian season 2. Whenever they probably already spoiled stuff for season 3 at that
Yeah.
point. So
As always, we are on top of things and well in advance.
right.
Sometimes I don't know if we should be recording. Oh well, we're going to talk
we
about
need to we need to just take a vacation for a couple of weeks or something, just to like let them cycle through. We'll figure it out. We'll do
man.
something.
We are always gonna have content for y'all. It may not always be up to date, but damn, it was up to date when we talked about it. And you know
Yep.
what? Hopefully, what we're talking about are universal themes. But but again, rambling on. Thank y'all once again for tuning in. That's gonna do it. We're gonna catch y'all later.
Peace.